element. Now you must be thinking, why Angular element as an entire course? Well, there are a lot of reasons behind this particular course. And when you finish this course, you will also think different scenarios where you can use Angular elements. Let's look at few reasons. The first and the most important reason is using Angular components in non-Angular applications. As you know, we are using different JavaScript frameworks and libraries in our day-to-day life development. What if you would like to use Angular components in those applications? For example, if you have JavaScript applications, jQuery applications, React.js applications, how can I use Angular components in those applications? This is where Angular element will come into the picture. As you already know that a good software should not rewrite the code. Rather, it should reuse the code. If you already have Angular components which can be used in non-Angular applications, you can simply convert these Angular components as Angular elements and then use it wherever it is applicable. Now, let's think about a second scenario. A second scenario could be if you have content management applications like SharePoint or Angular IO, Angular elements will definitely play an important role. Also think about enabling your teams and organization projects to reuse the parts of applications by developing Angular elements. Let those applications be in any framework or any library. You can make your resources use Angular elements with the easy way because they are self-bootstrapping. Everything needed to bootstrap Angular elements is within itself. You don't have to put any extra efforts to use those Angular elements in non-Angular applications. Also, by developing Angular elements, you can extend the HTML vocabulary. As you already know that Angular framework provides number of features while building Angular applications. For example, data binding. While developing Angular elements, you can take a full advantage of these features in Angular elements. You can also build a mini spa and deploy it as a single element, which you can use it in non-Angular applications. One of the most important feature of Angular framework is HTTP services, which you can use it with dependency injection in Angular framework. You can also consume HTTP services while developing Angular elements. Usually you use HTTP services to fetch the data from REST API. Now let's look at what we will cover in this course. In this course, we will cover several examples. The first example will be Hello World Angular element. We will create Angular element which will display Hello World, and we will use this Angular element in a simple HTML web page. In our next example, we will integrate Highcharts chart with Angular element. This Highcharts chart element will display a simple chart as well as a multi-series chart. The data to this chart we will provide it from MongoDB database. In our next example, we will integrate Angular material table with Angular element and use this Angular element in simple HTML web page. We will see this example by two ways. The first example will be a simple Angular material table. And in our second example, we will add sorting and filtering functionality to our Angular material table. This table will take the data from various sources. For example, from a JSON file or from a MongoDB database. And finally, we will create some widgets. In our first example, we will create a weather report. This weather report will show a current weather report for a given city. And in our next example, we will look at a next 15 hours city-wise weather report. we will use this weather report Angular element in our simple HTML web page. And finally, we will also use Angular element in React application. So let's get started with our course.